it's Yip, and let's discuss the ringing slash capping feature that we have in FAF and what we're going to replace it with. This will be a series of free videos. You're watching the first video right now, in which we'll discuss what the feature is, what the old version is, what the new version is, and why we're doing it. There will be a second video which will discuss the technical implementation, right? So just the implementation of the feature as a whole, the new feature that is. We'll make a short comparison with the old implementation. And then in the third video, we'll be talking about how you can make UI mods to create your own templates or capping behavior that you can then upload to the vault as UI mod. All right. So the old feature is about, if you go to gameplay, this game option right here, which you can turn off altogether, apply to your own extractors for mass storage, or the full suite, which allows you to apply to a various range of units. And essentially what it does is it applies a side effect to the assist or guard order for engineers on certain type of units. As an example, if we right click this extractor, then it will put storages around it. Similarly, if we right click the artillery piece, when you have full suite enabled, put pigeons around it, right? And would put storages around the fabricator, pigeons around the radar, and if you click twice, it will put storages with fabricators around the extractor, tech-free extractor in this case. Now compare this with the new implementation, which we have right here. Our little group of engineers is walking. And what we can do now is, instead of right-clicking, we hover over the unit that we want to cycle through the capabilities, and we hit the tab, or specifically, we hit whatever hotkey we assigned to this action right here. Cycle templates based on the unit that the mouse is hovering over. And these are templates. They're not from your self-defined templates. These are generated templates, ones we provide or that you provide through a UI mod. And depending on the context, so depending on what we're hovering over, it will generate a different template, right? Just like we have here. There you go. And that's it, essentially. That's the alternative. So instead of right-clicking it, which would no longer work in that case, you would just do this, and then of course you can queue them as you see fit. Now that we have an understanding of what we're talking about, let's talk about why we're doing it. So there are a couple of issues with the old implementation that we have right now at FAF. And one of them is from a UX perspective, right? So from gameplay perspective. One issue is that, say you have, let's get rid of these. Oh, poor engineer. Say you have this, then what's going to happen right now is that these engineers will start repairing the extractor instead of making your storages. You usually never want to repair a tech-free extractor. It's mega expensive, but because the storages are a side effect of the assist slash guard order, they will start doing that, so you have to cancel that manually. Then you have another problem, that instead of creating one order, there are as many orders as you have engineers. And why this is difficult is because you need to, if you want to cancel one, you have to click multiple times, right? It's not one order like you have usually. This is, for example, one order, and we can cancel by clicking just once, but in this case, we'll have to click multiple times to cancel the orders. Another problem, which is fairly interesting, is that if you have something else queued up, say for example you're walking all over here, you want to build a PGen for whatever reason, and now I want to cap it, this system doesn't realize that the PGen is queued, right? Because in the simulation, that PGen doesn't exist yet. Which means that right now, these guys will start capping, assuming they don't arrive in time. So let's push them a little. Oh, all right, they got to heal first. Brilliant. All right. There you go. It started building the storage, and as a result, the engineers, which are three on top of each other here, will be unable to build the PGen in the end. That's another issue. One more issue, but that's particularly noticeable when you slow down the game, is that there is a rather significant delay between you clicking and it happening, right? There's no immediate feedback, and that delay is 5 ticks. 5 ticks being 1 tick 100 milliseconds, so that's half a second. But if your game is laggy or stuttering, then that will be longer. And if your game is slowed down, so say for example the simulation speed can't catch up, right? So the game goes to -1, -2, it will be longer, and that will have a negative impact on the user experience. And last, but that is the primary reason why this old method is very can be very hurtful to your system, is that remember that it creates one specific order for each engineer that's assisting, right? That also means that there are 4 build previews queued up right here. 4 different build previews on one spot. Now, the game is really bad at rendering these build previews. 10 build previews, you won't notice. 100, you won't notice. But if you, for example, have a couple of, I don't know, 150, you can already see that the game is starting to lag a little bit. And this is pretty detrimental to essentially everything, right? And it won't happen this often that you'll have this many previews. But if you're in a laggy game, etc., and you're not toying with 4 engineers, but you're toying with maybe 20, it's quite easy to get to that point where the game is just, look at how laggy this is, right? And now I cancel the orders, and it is back to the usual Supreme Command experience when you're running OBS Studio in the background. And that's the biggest issue. And we can't circumvent that with the tools that we have, except when we introduce something new. Now, the only disadvantage to the new method is that here you can now click on the extractor and it will queue it up for you, right? Tough luck trying to do that with this implementation, because it's not as easy to line it up. So you have to zoom in to get to your templates, do your thing, gotta aim a little bit better and do it like that. Now all of the problems that we mentioned before though are gone, right? So if we tap like this and say we want to build a factory here, then you can see that it doesn't put a storage there because we wanted to build a factory. There's just one order on each storage, and there is immediate feedback in the form of the build template, right? And in the form of the little bit of text here at the bottom that helps you understand the number of templates and what template you're at, so that you got a bit of context. There's also the case when you're not hovering over a unit, and in this, for now at least, in the base game, that will give you the point defense plus walls template right there out of the box. But that's about the new implementation, and a lot of the problems that we have with the old implementation are therefore gone, which I think is a great improvement. And the negative side effect of having to issue an order on an extractor when it's damaged is gone too, of course, because there is no order on the structure anymore. So now that we've discussed the what's and the whys, in the next video we'll discuss the how. Right? We'll look into look under the hood, see how it works, see how it differentiates from the other implementation, and all of that to warm you up to being able to make your own template.